spaceport would be amazing for the human race. Like, no, but seriously, imagine if we could all come together and hate something. That would be beautiful in a way.
Talks with Tim Ulrich Dechent. I think this is the first time I'm talking in English.
Oh, well, really?
It's not possible in German because we have Gustav Thörn from Sweden in the house. Amazing cook, chef, and film producer. I think we first met in 2016 when I visited Norrköping in Sweden to shoot at the archive for the unexplained. And I stayed at your flat during that time. 2016, man.
Yeah, dude. Time moves too quickly here, man.
4 years ago, man.
4 years. It feels like I've known you for just a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I'm eating basil while talking to Gustav.
Oh, man.
Amazing. Man, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
You just finished your university, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I just finished my thesis actually like a couple of weeks ago, so I still have like a little bit more work to do. I got some shit left over from like half a year ago, but thesis is done, thesis is handed in, so that's it.
Awesome.
So, yeah, super excited about being unemployed in this beautiful Corona time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, dude.
Couldn't be better. But let's start. First question. Yeah. So I'm asking 3 questions.
Right.
And you could answer just with yes, no, or however the fucking you want. But we have limited time, like 40 minutes. So keep that.
40 minutes. Okay. Per question or for the whole thing?
For the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think people would be bored if we're like talking for like 5 hours.
Oh no, I feel yeah.
We could. So
yeah, dude, we could rabbit hole for days.
Let's see how it works. First question, my man.
Yeah.
What would you do if you could be invisible for 24 hours?
Oh fuck. 24 hours? Like fully invisible?
Yes. Nobody could see you 24 hours long.
I mean, the first thing I would do when I notice it would just steal so much stuff. I just walk fucking do it. Like the thing is, no one's gonna fuck with like a floating computer chassis that's just going through the store, right? No one's gonna be like, hey, stop that, and try to pick it down. Like this, I probably just like first couple of hours to just run around stealing shit, you know? Like that would be, I mean, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know, man. It's like, fuck, it would have so many hours to do stuff.
What would you, if you would only steal things, which things would you steal in 24-hour time limit?
Oh, cameras, straight up. I would like find the warehouse for like Scandinavian Photo or something like that. It's like a huge retailer up here in Sweden, and I would just start moving boxes, man. Like, can you imagine? Like even because the thing is, even if like an alarm goes off, right? Even if you show up in the middle of the night and an alarm goes off, like, what are they gonna do? Like, they can't put cuffs on something they can't see, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? I think it would mess with my girlfriend a lot too. Like, just fucking move stuff around, like fucking like just like follow her around a little bit, like flick her nose a little bit, something like that, just to mess with her. But like 24 hours is a long time, and like I'm feeling like while it's like super cool to be invisible, it's not a very useful state, right? Like it's not like if you were super strong for 24 hours, then you could go around and like save people or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like me with my current like attributes, just invisible, like that's just me minus the visual element, right? So like I couldn't fucking like walk around and like save lives or like fucking you know, pull someone out of a burning car. Like I couldn't do that now, and like invisibility is not going to help that, right? So I feel like I would have to go for like the villain route on this. Maybe like sit like sit in somewhere where you're not supposed to be and like listen to a conversation or something, you know? Like get some like prime film footage or something like that. Like, so if I hold stuff, will that be invisible too?
No,
No, okay.
just you.
So I couldn't. But like, imagine if you go to like, I don't know, man, like a hospital room or something where like people are having like really tough conversations, and you just like like watch that and experience that. Yeah, dude, I realize it's a fucking weird thing, but like I don't want to experience that, but I kind of want to know what it's like so I can like write about it in a more compelling manner, right?
Yeah.
But like try to
I
break
don't
into
know
the
what
government or something.
I don't know what freaking doctors talk to each other when they're in the hospital room.
No, exactly.
Oh, look at this guy.
I want to know if the doctors fat shame the people they do fMRIs of. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah. But yeah, good. All right.
Right.
Question number 2, man.
Number 2.
It's getting a little bit more complicated now, but I think you're gonna manage just fine. It has to do with my ongoing project. Would you say that the human race has to be an interplanetary species? And do you think they're gonna make it?
I mean, for sure. Like, we have to be an interplanetary species, right? Because if something happens to Earth, then we're fucked otherwise. Like, I mean, there's all like a whole bunch of shit going on out there with like coronal mass ejections. Like, one is a big enough of those, so we're done. And like, if we had like just one more place where we could like sort of have people, even if that's like Mars or like the other end of the galaxy, then we could like keep going, right? But if we're gonna make it or not, like, I don't know, man. I don't think we could come together for like that long to like get something like that to work, you know? Like, because imagine this, right? Imagine this. Like, I mean, imagine the fucking racism someone who was born on Mars would face on Earth, right? No, but like, think about it. Like, we can't, like, what are we fighting about now? Like, skin tone? I mean, come on. That's like, it's like, it's so dumb. Imagine if, like, because that it goes back to this whole, like, you know, when people used to, like, be in different countries and, like, there was this whole nationalism going on with, like, when we didn't have this global society that we live in right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if that was to be, like, sort of extrapolated up to, like, a planetary scale, like, so say we have like a fully functioning Mars colony and a fully functioning Earth colony. Like, why wouldn't they fight? Like, every single piece of evidence ever points towards a conflict there. I mean, Jesus, people from different electronics brands can't fucking cooperate up, like, most of the time. Like, if you have a Canonist with Canon cameras and a Nikonist with Nikon cameras, then there's going to be a fight. So why wouldn't like Earthlings and Martians fight each other, right?
Yeah, I'm with you
So
on that one. I'm totally with
wait,
you.
can you pick up the construction site outside?
No, I don't think so.
Speaking of conflict.
I'm totally with you on that. I think before we could operate on that scale and be on several different planets, we have to get over stuff like war or racism or stuff. We have to operate on a global scale. Like, we're humans. We're not Africans. We're not Americans. We're not.
No, exactly.
People. We're fucking humans.
And
so,
I think in a weird way, I think like putting people on Mars and getting a successful colony going there, I mean, that could probably be like one of the factors in ending that, because like, okay, this is like a little bit like, I think that humans are in a way, and not wired to hate, but wired to sort of differentiate between us and them, you know? Like, that's something that I think, I think that like the individual kind of needs that in a way.
yeah.
Like, they need a sort of a distinction between this is what I belong to and this is what I don't belong to. This is I mean, whether that is the opposition or if that is, you know, just like, I'm not a plant, like, you know, there has to be like things that you can differentiate between.
Yeah.
And I think that just what's going on right now in the world is just like sort of race is like one of the last things, because we can't hate the people from the fucking farm on the other side of the street anymore, because we live in cities most of us, and like we can't hate the people in our that live in different parts of the country. I mean, there is that, but like not to the same extent anymore, because all of a sudden we are in this like huge global network of like just people from all over the world. And from that, like we can't even hate people in different nations, because like what's the point of hating a Spanish guy when you can find a cool Spanish guy on YouTube that does amazing things? Like if you hate Spanish people, then you can't take part of that, right? And so I think that like due to, and I have absolutely no sources on this, but I think that due to the fact that we started to become like a more global society, like hate has become a lot more sort of like a lot more abstract in a sense. Like we find other things, or like focus more on like aspects of race, aspects of intelligence, education, stuff like that. Like there's a lot of prejudice towards like, oh, you're not educated, like, you know, that whole thing. A lot of like educated people that I've talked to have that kind of bias. And I think that like one thing that could actually help our case in that scenario is if we got like a very clear other, for example, a Mars colony or a moon base or something like that, like something that was not just an outpost, not just the first pilgrims, but more like, oh, when we populated the place, like when the first couple of generations have been born. And I think like that could be one of the things that could sort of take the pressure off this whole race nonsense, you know?
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. It's the same like um, on my research about the search for extraterrestrial life.
Yeah.
There's exactly the same like chance, because if we would find like extraterrestrial life, the extreme otherness, we would finally realize that we're all humans, that we're
exactly.
we're all the same, and then there's these other guys from another planet.
Yeah, no. Actually, I think that a space war would be amazing for the human race. Like, no, but seriously, imagine if we could all come together and hate something. That would be beautiful in a way. You know? But like, and like technically, right?
Guys from Centauri XY3.
Exactly. Look at those fucking
Look at this
four-legged fucks, you know?
I don't know.
Like back when I was young, everybody had two legs, you know? These people just walking around acting like they can run faster than us. What the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
No, but like, and like technically, right? Like technically, if you have people living on Mars, they would be extraterrestrials, right? Because like extraterra, like outside of Earthlings.
Yeah. So
Or
that
wouldn't
technically
they,
count like.
yeah, I mean, I guess they technically would be extraterrestrials for the first time when the first couple of generations have been born, right? Because they're not from Earth.
Yeah.
And also like give it enough time, and like I think the sort of like the gravitational differences and the differences in living conditions would probably create two different races. I mean, that's one of the things that I don't think it's Enrico Fermi. I think it's one of the sci-fi writers, Larry Niven or someone, who brings that up, where like there's this species that sort of come back from a mass extinction event on their planet. Like basically they've just bombed themselves to hell and like, you know, lived in a stone age for a couple of decades. And then all of a sudden they start to find like all these other civilizations out there in the stars. And it turns out that they are all like other, like they're divergent genetic paths of the same like origin. So it's like human race that's spread across the stars. And then had like, you know, generations upon generations just change in terms of like what the planet can provide and what the conditions on the planets were. And then one of them just goes wiped out, and like they sort of find them again. It's like a crazy story like that. So in that way, would it even be humans that were to populate the stars in that case? Because we are right now, and the time it would take to like get all over the place, I mean, I don't think humanity would be the same. Like very physically, like we would look different and seem different.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting.
For sure.
Interesting. So,
But that, and that's just possible if we don't blow up the planet in the next decade or so.
Yeah,
So
I was just saying that. I was just saying that you're like the first person who brings up like a cultural reason to not
yeah.
making it, rather than like bombing or destroying everything on Earth. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that, I guess that's the consequence of it, right? Like
Yeah.
cultural differences, and then we blow each other up.
Yeah,
But
sure.
like, I think like all the technical aspects could probably be overcome. I mean, there's been doubters in history for all kinds of things like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like especially with all the private companies like going into space business right now, with
Yeah.
way more like financial backgrounds and also like planning backgrounds, because if you like at NASA or ESA, like every 5 years there's another president, and if he wants to cut your budget, you're fucked. So
Yeah.
yeah.
There's one
So man,
executive order away from ending it.
yeah, man, really interesting. Before I ask the last question, where can people find you online? Do you have anything that you want to get out now to support
Oh yeah,
you,
sure.
or where can I hit you up? What are you doing?
Well, right now I'm currently involved in 2 projects. They're kind of both in the starting pits, but I have an Instagram going on where I sort of post my cooking and stuff called Scratch Cook Gus. So I mean, if you want to check out some like sort of over the top like scratch made food, where where you want to just watch a weird bastard make something from scratch for a full weekend in order to have like a really good sandwich, I mean, fucking hit me up. And the other thing is the Midvinter Media House YouTube channel that's just been started. We're going to start posting videos there at the end of the summer, and it's mainly going to be about like climate change and like social issues and stuff like that. But hey, I'm looking forward to it. You can hit me up there. So that's Midvinter Media House with a simple V in the middle, spelled Swedish style, and Scratch Cook Gus, spelled as it sounds, on Instagram.
All right, I will link that up so people can find you easily.
Very much.
So thanks, man. The last question, you're gonna complete the sentence, and the first part is: Gus Thörn is on the search for.
Sorry? Gus Thörn is on the search for.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, so many things. Oh, right now, like a cheap computer.
All right.
No, but like I think in a more metaphysical sense, I would say unity.
Oh, that's nice. That's deep.
Yeah, I'm on the search for unity.
Well, cool.
See and
I'm gonna end it with that. That's a nice ending point.
All right.
Unity, guys.